We're back, everyone. Welcome to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger, and with me, as always, is Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we're taking an October-y turn to our podcast theming and gaming, and we're going to bring you all of the wonderful scary or Halloween themed films this month. And to kick it off, Dan picked a brand new, never seen before, new for this year. Some would say fresh film that he deemed us worthy to watch, with some old favorite actors that we enjoy. Dan, why don't you talk about this thing you picked?
So we have kind of strayed away from some of our Marvel, Star Wars, DC roots, but we reached back to those roots, and the Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan, had a movie come out this year, and I was curious. I heard a little bit about it, and I figured, you know what? I think it's classified as a horror. Let's check it out. Let's bring it on for the Halloween October bonanza that we're doing here. But that movie is Fresh, starring Sebastian Stan, Daisy Edgar Jones of Where the Crawdads Sing fame, which just came out. And so I figured, you know what? Let's check it out. Might be scary, might be a little funny. Let's do this. I'd never heard anything about the movie other than the fact that it's kind of messed up. So I like messed up movies, and I figured, why not give it a try? And Mark, what about you? Have you heard anything about this prior to my recommendation?
No, didn't even know it was a thing. Didn't know it was a movie. Still hadn't watched Sebastian Stan's, triumphant portrayal of Tommy Lee yet. Hadn't caught that. So I figured, oh, okay, this, how bad could it be, right? It's on Hulu. How bad could it be? Fuck.
For the record, you don't really like scary movies in general. This isn't necessarily a scary movie, but you don't really do horror, do you?
I watch movies and intake media for enjoyment, for happiness, for positivity, for entertainment, and I am not big on horror movies. I'm big on suspense and mystery. Love the genres. We'll read mystery books all day. Like, love me some mystery. I'm a big Agatha Christie fan, which sounds super nerdy, but I mean, the old movies, the new movies, all that. Love the plot twist. A lot of the things that go into a suspense in a thriller movie. So there are a lot of thriller movies I like. The denotion for me on the I normally leave this be is when it gets unnecessarily kind of oddly erotically gory, like not Quentin Tarantino Kill Bill gory. That was just funny right there, right? But like just a little too weird on the gory side. I think this movie absolutely qualifies. And when it just gets to be things that are maybe a little too real, maybe a little too like, this is just fucked up. Like, I'd rather just ignore that this part of society exists and move on with my life. Also not a big paranormal person, but love The Exorcist because I think it's a timeless, just fucking scary, weird movie. So I go back and forth. Which is hypocritical, which is, very on par for this podcast.
That's our jam. The hypocrisy is always strong. And in light of what you just said right now, it's very interesting because I'm on the complete opposite side of the spectrum. And I love me some fucked up movies because I like the fact that, yes, people are out there that are sick as fuck, or just they've got a very strange take on things and how they want to portray it on film or digital picture, if you want to say that. And some of my favorite movies are those movies that are just like off-putting, and you're kind of just, it doesn't settle right with you. And so that's one of the things where I find it interesting, because it takes a lot for me to be very invested or even just like get some type of emotional response. So if it is sheer confusion or sheer disbelief as to like, I can't believe that people do this for real, I'm kind of into it. So this movie obviously is a little bit different. So it's
A
about
little bit.
cannibalism.
A
It's
little
about,
bit.
but it's not that different, because honestly, the cannibalism is almost like a, I won't say it's a MacGuffin. It's a big part of
No,
the
it's a
plot.
red herring. It's a red herring.
But yeah, it's something where it's really not all about cannibalism like what some people might think. It's really about dating and how messed up dating can be.
I watched the beginning of this movie and was just like, I gotta go tell my wife that I'm so glad I'm not out there.
Right?
Like I don't know about you. I was pre I was, I was wifed up pre Tinder, pre heavy dating apps. Um, like the chatting on the Facebooks, how my wife and I reconnected, right? But never never like we went to high school together. Like we've known each other for a very long time, but never just like the rando swipey kind of thing for me. Like never. Never. I would more identify with the guy that with Sebastian Stan picking somebody up in a grocery store, which was so ironic when you figured out that he was really grocery shopping. It really, like, there's some, this movie's really fucked up, but there is some, there's calls to other movies. There's some pretty like veiled dark humor in it. It's pretty solid, and I wanna call out um the writer or the director of this. I did a little bit of research after being like, who the fuck is responsible for this? Um, I looked at who had touched this, and the writer, Lauren Kahn, actually was Adam McKay's assistant during The Other Guys, during Step Brothers, like during some really, really great Adam McKay movies. And she's gone on to write and produce, and I think that this movie is made very well and love that piece of it. But the humor in it is, I mean, it's there. There's a few homages too, and we'll get to them. There's like some Patrick Bateman in there. There's some The Shining in there. Like there's a lot of stuff. There's some Kubrick in it. Like it's weird, man.
So with your expectation of the movie, you didn't know anything about it. Um, I mean, that first scene, you said you were going to go get your wife, or you
Yeah.
told your wife, like, I'm glad I'm not on the dating.
I'll tell you what I thought this movie was going to be. I thought this movie was going to be Fear. Do you remember the movie Fear with Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon?
Yes, and I want to say a little story about that movie.
Oh, go ahead.
right?
Go ahead. I watched it in a Hollywood video. That's how I
Okay.
found out about the movie Fear.
So I believe the movie came out in 7th grade. When I was in 7th grade, and I had an, in quotes, girlfriend at the time, and we were going to go see, or we were trying to see that movie, and with like a group of other friends, and we couldn't get tickets to see that movie because it was rated R.
Nobody would sneak you into an R-rated movie?
The mom, my, in quotes, girlfriend's mom, was going to get the tickets herself so we could see the movie, which, very nice thing, very nice thing to do. But the movie theater was very adamant, saying that you would need to be in the movie with them in order to buy the tickets and get them. And so that didn't happen. So you know what movie we saw? Mark, do you know what movie we saw.
It wasn't Toy Story. This was
So-
1996, by the way. Fear came out in
Mm.
1996.
Oh God, I am old. Yes. So the movie we saw was Celtic Pride.
Oh, I love that movie. Not a date movie, but
No.
such a great
No.
movie. Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd.
We saw Celtic Pride.
Oh, such a good movie.
God.
Damon Wayans. Oh, Daniel Stern.
Yeah.
Love that
Cla-
movie.
Sports classic.
Just in the Hall of Fame of Boston sports movies. It goes, you know what, man? It goes that Jimmy Fallon garbage movie about the Red Sox and Celtic Pride. I don't care who you are. That's the order.
Without a doubt. So, but anyways, yeah. So yes,
Hoosiers? No, not the best basketball movie ever. Celtic Pride.
of course. Or Joanna Man. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh,
Who
the air up
knows?
there. The air up there. Oh,
Well, while we're at it, like Mike and Air Bud, let's throw them all out there.
but none of those have Kevin Bacon.
No,
And
no.
African tribes like the
True.
air up there. Oh,
Very true.
90s. Gotta love it. This
But-
movie would never have been made in the 90s. Never.
Because it was too real. Jeffrey Dahmer was running
It was
around.
so-
That's why.
Dude, well, they just released, I don't know if it was Hulu or who. They just released like a Dahmer fucking, it's so timely. They just released like the dramatization, like the People versus O.J. Simpson, but for the Dahmer trial. And they did a side by side of one of the people freaking out. Like, this is a little too real, especially like you used to live and I live less than 200 miles from where Jeffrey Dahmer was imprisoned
Yes.
till they
Yes.
killed him.
Very brutally.
Well, that's
Very
what happens
brutally.
when you eat people.
Yeah. But to go back to your question, yeah, of course I remember the movie Fear. Absolutely.
But that's what I thought this was going to be. It was shaping up that way. It was going there for me, right? Like this chick Daisy in these bad dates and doing the swiping thing and with the fucking pompous fucking yelling at I need the bubbles water for my scarf.
God.
I'm going to take all the leftovers. Bring your money. Like that guy. I'm like, okay, that's why Sebastian Stan swoops in. I was all about the Sebastian Stan pickup. I was like, that was a sweet move, dude. Cotton candy
So
grape.
no red flags whatsoever.
Well,
at that
I mean,
point.
you knew there was going to be a thing with him, right? But I
Mhm.
thought he was just going to be like, I thought it was going to be Fear. They did the ominous music. Like, is he following her? Did he put an air tag in her purse? What's going on? And you knew something was going on. The bartender guy, fucking Paul, the fucking cannibal bartender, that you're just like, well, no bartender's ever that nice to somebody right away. Like, you got to get to know the bartender before you get a cup of cherries. Most bartenders are fucking annoyed when women ask for a cup of cherries. How
Yeah.
is this happening?
Which, speaking of, so I want to talk about that scene. It seems like based off of like the cut takes and everything, Sebastian Stan and Daisy Edgar Jones must have ate at least like a couple dozen cherries because they were popping those things like candy.
But that's okay. That's okay. They were building chemistry over cherries.
Yes, maraschino cherries.
Dude, maraschino, don't sleep on maraschino cherries.
I never sleep on a man. I just enjoy the one or maybe two.
Mm.
Or if you're at a wedding and you're underage, you get like 3 or 4 of them because
In the Shirley Temple.
Yeah, exactly. The bartender doesn't give a fuck and either makes a cherry Coke, Shirley Temple, and you are styling and you feel cool at a wedding with all those maraschino cherries. But
Were they maraschino cherries, or were they like the cheap cherries?
I think aren't all maraschino cherries like the red ones that they put in the.
I mean, being a old fashioned snob, there's a difference between like some really good like Luxardo cherries and like the cheap kitty cocktail cherries.
So
But
an
yeah,
old fashioned looks and smells delicious. Is it?
I enjoy it. It very much depends on the liquor that you put in there and your palate, but I enjoy a good old fashioned. I do.
As do I, but I've never had the drink.
Oh,
So let's go right into the cast. Daisy Edgar Jones as Noah, which I didn't know her name was Noah until halfway through the movie. So I wasn't sure. So my wife and I turned to each other as like Noah, like the Ark. But what did you think of her as a character? Initial impressions on the date. Did you feel bad for her?
I felt bad for her, but it, yeah, I felt bad for her. Like, but I didn't. I also had no like attachment. I was in this like, oh fuck, I would have super anxiety in that too. I would feel really just having to fucking like how much of your day like I'm just thinking like right as married men, how lucky are we that so much effort is unnecessary? Because you've got to think like the swiping and the conversations, how much of your day is part of that? Like how much time do you have to dedicate for that? And how much time do I get back in my day from being married? Like apparently a shitload and a lower level of anxiety. No wonder I drank so much as a kid. Like you'd go out to the bar just because it's like I don't fucking know what's going on. So I felt bad for her. I also like got kind of anxiety for her as she's walking down the dark alley, like, bitch, what are you doing? And she's like cuffing her keys a little bit, which came back later, but I didn't think would come back later. But like she's cuffing her keys, like I'm gonna stabby stab, and I'm just like, oh man, me and my wife have talked about this. I've got big cat white privilege. Like I'm at the top rung. Like nobody fucks with me. I'm a bigger dude. Like nobody's it's hard to take me down. Like you can win in a foot race, but you're not gonna fat people are hard to kidnap. And it's just not going to happen. Like, I don't have that problem. I see a dark alley and I'm like, well, guess I'm going to walk this way. And like for a woman, it is not the case. Not the case. So I had a little bit of like, oh man, I've heard this is nerve wracking for women. Not for me.
I did like the fact that she was ready to go. Like she may have been scared a little bit, but she had the
She's
keys
Wolverine in those
fingers.
keys, bro. She's Wolverine in those keys, to throw it back to that excellent X-Men shirt.
With the anxiety of the keys falling, which my wife and I were immediately, what the fuck? Come on. And like then, you were ready.
And then what's less threatening than an Asian man with a baby?
Yes.
Nothing. Nothing is less threatening than an Asian man with a baby.
As she's talking to her best friend, Molly, what did you think about her? And was there any, were you thinking to yourself like, oh, this trope again? Or, oh,
no, it's just like,
take?
I was just like, oh, thank God I'm married. Like, fuck these bitches. Like, I completely understand and remember having the male version of those conversations. Never at a boxing gym. Nope. Not at a gym whatsoever. But yeah, no, have had the male version of those conversations many times. And empathize in a way. But I'm just like, oh, so glad I'm not out there.
For the record, as a part-time instructor on the boxing and kickboxing, Daisy Edgar Jones, not really great form. Molly,
just limp-wristed.
Yeah. She better tighten up those wrists. She's going to hurt those wrists and hands. I don't know.
What was with that instructor giving them so much praise? He was full of shit. They sucked.
So that's pretty common.
Good job. Believe it or not. Good job. You paid this week. Yeah.
Believe it or not, when you go to a gym, the instructors are going to praise you even if you do bad. No surprise there. But hey, you know what? That actually is great because if you keep on showing up to the gym, it's all a win. So,
is it?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Whatever.
A workout is better than no workout. Even a shitty workout is better than no workout.
Agree to disagree.
All right, but as we go down this list, so there's a lot of people that you don't necessarily see the faces of, but you got the bartender Paul, almost like a useless character. I think it's fair to say, and let's kind of skip to Paul's. We'll skip around throughout everything, but Paul's heroic or could be heroic scene. He's showing up to the house where the women are locked up, chained, and at that point they're actually escaping, but he decides to get the fuck out of Dodge. And he's like, I've seen this movie before. I'm fucking out of here. And doesn't do anything, which is it's very funny and clever to me because you expect, oh, here comes the strong man to save the day. And he just bounces. He's like, nope, I'm out. And so it was kind of a fresh take on, what that strength of women can be and what that perceived strength of men could be in those situations.
I think that you could say that they needed to leave it open for Fresh too.
Possibly. There was a mid-credit scene, so I didn't stick around for the mid-credit scene. I didn't hear about it until well after the fact.
I didn't stick around for the Paul scene, my friend. Like, this movie was, though we're joking about it, it was a no for me in a big way. I probably turned it off halfway through and was like, I owe Danny reading a script synopsis. So I read through a script synopsis and saw so many tropes to it. But this movie got real fucked up real fast. Not real fast, but like after the Patrick Bateman part where he was making the care packages is where I was just like, Sebastian Stan, how are you doing this with a straight face? Bucky wouldn't do this.
So Sebastian Stan, dude, he does a fantastic job of playing fucked up characters.
He is he's an actor.
He is. Jeff Galooly and I, Tonya, this role in Fresh. There's a few other ones I can't remember the names of, but like he can act his ass off, and he does it so well where he can play like the good-looking stud hero character, and then like the weak, evil prick of a dude like in I, Tonya. But one of the things that I loved about this movie is that it was totally Patrick Bateman, and I just loved his little dancing in between, and
the dancing with the leg was where I was like, oh.
So is it like
I
really
almost didn't
unsettling?
hear when he said I'm a butcher, when they were having the conversation in the basement. I almost didn't hear that. I'm like, oh, maybe it's still gonna be rapey. Like, not better at all, but kind of slightly better than cannibalism.
It wasn't really that unsettling to you to where it's like, it was at that type of movie where it's like, I cannot watch this because I feel ill or I feel like violated by watching
when
this.
He was cutting up the leg and freeze packing it and then creating subscription packages that included pictures and intimate garments. That's where I was like, okay, I could finish watching this. I could spend another hour and I'm going to want that hour back. Or, you know what? Let me see if there's some twist I might miss. Let me read through it. If there's something amazing, I'll watch it. But the trope when I read, cuts off her ass cheek, I was like, good. Don't want to see how they did that. Not interested in the practical on that end. And then there were all these people arguing about, the dress should have shown more of her ass scar and she shouldn't have been able to dance with one ass cheek. Like all these things.
I thought
and
that.
I'm like, no. This is the first movie that I can remember since Jonah Hill's The Sitter, where I was like, nothing about my life is going to be better finishing watching this, knowing that I was going to have at least an hour conversation about the movie.
Man, if I knew that was an option, I would have just said, after 5 minutes of nothing but trouble, I would have been like, I'm going to Wikipedia and I don't give a fuck about this movie.
But you could have. and you could have never told me. But I not only showed up, I not only have constructive thoughts on everything we're sitting here to talk about today, but I'm also fully forthcoming and honest that this was a noper for me.
I also had very constructive thoughts on Nothing But Trouble, is to not watch the movie for any of our listeners or viewers. Not watch
So
it.
I think at this point, after one, well, Top Secret was good. I have no complaints about Top Secret, but you getting to pick two in a row, one of them that I was happy to see, and one of them that's just like, fuck you. I think that we should be good on picking movies for each other at least till the end of the year. Like,
But the difference is that this movie was actually good. This movie was good. You can't say. I mean, actually no. You did say that movie was bad. Nothing But Trouble was bad.
Oh, it's campy bad. It's campy bad. I enjoy the campy badness. The dehumanization and the demonization of mankind thing for me just doesn't like it. I may be an internal optimist, but like I'm just like, I'm glad that he dies at the end of the movie. I'm glad he like takes multiple heavy hits to get killed.
The funny thing about that though is that the way he goes down is he is a sucker for love. Finds like a woman who gets him, who's as messed up as he is, and they could share and bond in these moments. And he is in such utter denial. He's willing to oversee like, yeah, it's probably a bad idea if I don't handcuff her. It's probably a bad idea if I have sex with her because her hands will be free, her mouth will be free. And yeah, it was a bad call, Ripley. It was a bad call.
Yeah, no. I love that he went from playing somebody with a gigantic prosthetic cock to getting his balls bitten off in the next one.
All in the same year.
All in the same year, all on the same streaming platform.
Well, we talked about kind of like the red flag. So if the red flag for me was when he had said, because I knew something was going on and I knew the movie was about cannibalism and obviously he was probably going to be the bad guy. But the second that he said, we should go away somewhere, I was like, what the fuck? No, you don't go away with someone that you just met like 24 hours ago.
That's not when I called bullshit on him. When he had no like pager or any way of like no doctor doesn't have readily available accessibility like that, and they don't just randomly show up to shit.
It was the actually I take that back. So it was a little bit before. It was the fact that there was no pictures at his home. There was absolutely zero pictures, like a mantle where normally like a picture or a painting would be, nothing. So I did notice that beforehand.
Pads don't have pictures.
Oh yeah, you do. You got pictures like your dudes hanging around, and
you're a better man than me because my bachelor pad had no pictures.
I did have a few of those. Yeah, definitely some pictures, or at least even some type of artwork up.
Bro had some really nice artwork in his place.
Well, that artwork that was like a collage of his murder victims, or appetizers, lunch, dinner, desserts, maybe. But yeah. So when he had said that about the going away somewhere, I turned to my wife and we're like, "Oh, this is where it goes down." And yeah, and you had Molly as the overprotective friend, like, "No, don't do it. No, don't do it." I was like, "Gosh, Molly, trying to block her from having fun. This is such bullshit." Like, just let her have fun. I always am in the favor of like the bad guy. He's like, he's not such a bad guy. He just
I'm
wants
not
to go.
Surprised in the least that you're on the no, let her go. She's gonna die.
Like, I just love for like a humorous laughing fact. And my wife always like, you always root for the bad guy. It's just, I mean, it's just entertaining in that sense.
Did you root for Daniel LaRusso? or did you write for? Did you think Billy Zabka is the Karate Kid?
No, I was not one of the people that thought Johnny was the good guy. Um, but watching Cobra Kai now, it's like, oh yeah, that's completely accurate. But both parties guilty of bullying and unnecessary violence against each other. I like making those comments. I don't know if I necessarily root for the bad guy because I know it'll get some type of reaction, whether it's laughter or an eye roll from my wife. I'll be like, he's not that bad of a guy. He's just trying to find love. There's supply and demand. There's people out there that just want some boxed meals, and he's providing that service. So, no, I do not think it's right, but God
I
damn it,
do
I
want
think
to
it's funny.
know, like, in the boxed meals, all he seemed to put in was the meat and the other things. I want to know what he put in there before the meat. Like, what else was there? Was there
Well,
some au gratin? Was there a nice Chianti and some kidney beans in there? Like, come on, Hannibal, put the whole meal together. He served her French fries after that, and I'm like, you don't send French fries in a boxed meal. There's got to be something better here. There's got to be something better. And I don't know what I don't know. Was it fresh cut green beans? Were they? He didn't seem to have the means to flash freeze anything. What's going
for
on here, Dan?
the more fresh the meal is, the higher the price. So I would guarantee there's some fresh produce, maybe some broccoli rabe, maybe a little bit of black garlic in there. You know what? Definitely some truffle. Definitely some truffle in there
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
he's a truffle guy.
Yeah.
He's a truffle. It's probably one of those kits that like gives you the whole truffle and the truffle shaver with like a really nice ivory handle or bone.
Yeah. Hello
Maybe a
Fresh.
bone handle.
There we go. We'll plug Hello Fresh right there because it was a faux service in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But what about tension during the movie? You talked about the scene where she's going down the alley. Any other scenes that you actually watched that you got a little bit of
The
tension?
music early was so Kubrick to me because it kind of came over the top, kind of like think of the opening to The Shining. Have you seen The Shining? Or am I gonna have
Yeah,
to
it's
slap
been
you
a
again?
long time.
Okay, like the beginning where the music's just louder and over the movie and boom, 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 boom. This movie gave you those tension notes early, all until the cutscene, all until they get in the car, and then it's like French music in his car, like all the ominous until it's just like and they're just driving to the butcher house. But like early, it's just like, man, okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. The sinister music is I get it. Something bad's gonna happen.
For me, it was that point of tension. The alley scene was great. The music also great, but also just like the fun that he was having, just dancing around with the knife, was just like I was digging that, and just the fact that he was taking such sheer joy of what he does. But it's like, oh, there's gonna be some shit that happens, and then he's cutting into the leg, and it's just one of those things where to me it wasn't cringy. It was just one of those like, wow,
That was
he
the
is
Patrick
messed
Bateman
up.
scene, though. That
Yeah,
was the chainsaw scene with
yeah,
the
with
hi-fi.
Jared
Yeah,
Leto. So I got a question for you because you're talking about American Psycho. So were you not able to watch that movie and
I
enjoy
don't
it?
like that movie. I've watched most of it. I've watched it in pieces. Not a full front to back on that either.
Interesting.
Yeah, no.
So on that movie, I saw that at RIP Bremen Theaters in Tinley Park previously.
Mhm.
It's now a Menards,
Saving big money.
but that movie we actually had to walk out of. I was there with a couple friends from high school, and my friend's girlfriend at the time. During the hallway scene when he's running around naked with the
Yeah.
chainsaw, bloody, screaming, that's the scene that we had to walk out of. And we didn't know that there was only like 10 minutes left in the
Yeah,
movie.
not a lot left.
Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of a disturbing movie. I was like, okay, yeah, I guess it's kind of messed up. And the funny thing about that movie is uh, my friend at the time was like, I had no idea that movie was going to be that messed up. dude.
It's called American Psycho.
Yeah. And you know what his reasoning was? He was like, "Oh, I thought it would be like Psycho, like Psycho, where
People
Hitchcock
get murdered.
and like his fucking just logic blew my mind. I was like, you're not intelligent. And he was doing the stabbing movement was like, yeah, I thought it was going to be like Psycho. Uh-huh. Okay. All right.
Psycho at the end is really fucked up. With
Yeah.
the dead mom, and they turn it around, and it's the mom's just a fucking corpse, and homeboy comes in dressed as mom with a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Psycho's really fucked up too. Like I said, American Psycho took a little while for me to watch it, but I have watched it and I liked it. It's just I liked it because it's I think the acting performance in it is crazy good. Much like Sebastian Stan in this is just as crazy good. But this one's gonna be like if I ever revisit it, it's gonna be in chunks because like the murder part of Psycho, like I said earlier, it's like, that's at least easier to take than fucking eating people.
Yeah. I guess for me though, it's like I know they're not eating people. So I don't have a hard
But there
time.
could be people eating people.
It not even could be. There are people eating people. So to turn a blind eye to it is just kind of like, meh. I don't know. I don't quite understand that. Well, I understand it, but it doesn't change the fact that there's like horrific events like that happen and horrific groups of people that find pleasure in that, which is very sick. But yeah, I don't know. It's for me, I can compartmentalize and really separate fact from fiction very well when it came to movies. And now American Psycho, I thought that I was just picking up and focusing on the wrong parts of the movie. So like the gruesome murders or just like the sadistic actions of Christian Bale's character, Patrick Bateman, instead of the ridiculous, hilarious, true concepts to how everything is. I love that business card scene in American Psycho. It's just so amazing. And the fact that everyone's just dick measuring with a business card. So awesome to me. And that's the stuff that I picked up after the fact. I was like, wow, yeah, this movie has great acting moments and just sheer ridiculousness of the dialogue, which was true at the time in the 80s. Like, that's legit yuppies.
But
Absolute.
I think that that's why that movie is, though it is disturbing, is kind of funny. And this
Yeah.
movie is not funny.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. You don't find Sebastian Stan dancing. I loved it. I loved
Just
every
because he
second of it.
dances like Elaine Bennis doesn't mean.
Oh, so good. And no, he does not dance like Elaine Bennis. He actually has rhythm and movement, but it's so psychotic the way that he does it. And it's so like, you know, if you've ever, he was totally dancing like no one's watching. And so I'm like, wow, he is thoroughly enjoying himself. So I make this little joke when I'm doing presentations for work that my wife and I dance around the kitchen like fools. We would never dance like this at a bar or a club. But so that's what I kind of like. I like the fact that he is just enjoying his time right now. And so I just kind of find entertainment in that because like, you know what? If I enjoyed doing maybe not something sick, crazy like that, but there's times where I'm dancing around my kitchen where I look like a complete idiot, and my oldest looks at me and is just like embarrassed. But you know what? I love it. I love it.
What about you? Did you find any serious tension in this movie? It seemed like it was a walk in the park for you, which has me worried and is going to get you put on a few watch lists.
No, that serious tension is the phone call from Molly, and the phone rings inside the house with the wife and Sebastian Stan's character, where the phone rings and it's just like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen right now? And she's just like frozen. And Sebastian Stan's just like, well, I kept the phone on. And you find out that the wife is in on it as well. And so that was like a oh fuck moment to where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is actually happening right now. And then also the moment when Paul, the bartender, is going up there, is like, ooh, he's gonna fuck somebody up. And so I was like, I was waiting, like, okay, he's gonna help them out, he's gonna get them into the car. And the fact that he just bolts and leaves and never to be seen again during that time of like complete danger for them is just like, how the fuck are they gonna get through this now? Because I did find it funny though that you had, out of all the three women, there was something missing from, in quotes, the most desirable parts of women: someone's leg, someone's ass, and someone's breast. So I just found it very comical that they were doing that. And I'm sure they did that on purpose, to where all three of them were missing something that is desirable, in quotes, for women. And it was also just funny trying to see, like, how the fuck are these three people going to get anywhere? One doesn't have an ass, one doesn't have a leg, and the other one is just holding on to her breast that's missing. It's just the irony of the scene that's just like, yes, you're running away, but it's still funny because the way they shot it and the way they're all kind of hobbling in that way is just like, oh my God. How I thought it was masterfully done by the director and the writer, and just the way they shot that scene, or that sequence of scenes.
What's your take on cannibalism? Are you a yay or are you a nay? Gun to your head?
Pretty well, gun to my head, that's a different story. So with gun to my head and I'm caught or trapped in that scenario, like Noah, the character, was, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to die. I'd like to say flat out that, like, no, I'm not going to eat a person. But you know what, man? You never know until you're that situation where you're going to die regardless, most likely. And you can continue to live if you eat this mystery meat. I don't know, man. I'd like to think that I would be like, no, I'm not going to. But at the same time, who knows if I'm that, like, sniveling, slobbering, crying mess where it's like, oh, just don't kill me, man. Just don't kill me, man. Like, whatever, I'll eat whatever you want. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I don't know. I don't think I could hold out. I think I would have to do whatever necessary to prolong the odds of living on the chance that I might be able to find a way out of it. So
I feel like I would have some kind of mental and physical reaction and just vomit.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm assuming that's going to be the case if a lot of people eat it.
Yeah.
I think that's, ugh, and I don't know if it's true. You ever see the movie Book of Eli with Denzel?
Yeah.
The people that are cannibals in that movie, where they start like something that they eat, like if you're eating human flesh, it turns you into, like, I don't know, like shaky tremor like behavior because of the enzymes in the meat. I don't know if any of that's true, but
I don't either.
Yeah.
Good pull. Great movie. The twist at the end of that movie is amazing.
Really? I didn't think it was that great.
You didn't think that? I didn't see it coming.
Nah, but yeah. So I've got a strong opposition on religious tones in movies. I don't know. But yeah, it was a good movie. I liked it. But yeah. So, gun to your head, you're probably would you?
I feel like I would, like it would just happen that way.
Prior to, or would you actually
like,
just
while it was being put towards me? I feel like I'd.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I'd go through with it due to, I'd be like,
it would take a lot for me to even entertain the thought.
Especially if I knew what it was, like, then it would be, it'd be over.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Yeah.
do it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Gun to my head is probably the only way that that's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Noah, the main character, Daisy Edgar Jones. Have you seen anything else that she's been in?
Nothing. Didn't even know who she was. Looked at the movie she's been in. Nothing stuck out to me.
I'm curious. I didn't recognize her in the trailers for Where the Crawdads Sing, but apparently that's a very popular book. I don't know, whatever. But I'm probably not going to see that movie. But I actually liked her in this role. I thought she did a great job of portraying a not helpless female. Just a normal female that is on the dating scene and has some skill and will to get herself out of a troublesome situation.
Yeah, she was a good person.
Is she likable? Do you think she's really likable? Like, if
I don't know if she's likable, but I don't think she's dislikable. I don't think she's a bad person. I think that she's creating boundaries for herself and putting in a situation where any relationship that she gets into, she wants to be positive. Like, she wants to be happy. I don't think that that's a selfish feeling. Wanting to be happy isn't selfish. It's, what we all should, not what we all should strive for. I don't want to sound preachy, but like, I don't think that's a bad thing to strive for, regardless of, oh, well, everybody's not happy or blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck about anybody else's circumstances but mine in that situation. And if I'm happy, fuck everybody else. Like, I will obviously, help and try and make other people happy. And, I'm not a fuck you kind of person in that regard, but like, I mean, isn't that the goal of life, is to find happiness and somebody that you feel challenged and accepted and comfortable with? Like,
sure.
isn't that the goal? Not to find the Sweeney Todd of fucking wherever the fuck they are.
So, do you think she's as fucked up as Steve says she is? Because I didn't really get that. Steve says that, like, you're fucked up like I am, and that's why he slept with her, compared to the other
See,
victims.
she had so many bad dates that she just, I think that was just, somebody interesting. Right? Like, I don't think, I think that there was attraction and there was, engagement, but I don't think that she's got that neuroses of crazy that this guy's got. Like, this guy is a fucking wackadoodle.
So it's funny that you say that, because I did not notice anything that was, in quotes, fucked up about her, other than the fact that she went on some fucked up dates. But for him, I thought that was like a perfect portrayal of, take the cannibalism out of it. That's the perfect portrayal of a person on the dating scene that is just going to project their insecurities or their personality on someone.
A huge narcissist. Like, I agree 100%. And narcissists always blame other people for being wrong. It's never them that's wrong. It's somebody else that's wrong. I don't know if you spent a lot of time with any narcissists, but that's a very true situation.
It's just interesting that he was like, yeah, you're just like me. And it's no, they're not even remotely close to each other. And so
Absolutely.
Sebastian Stan wanting to just push that upon her, because he himself wants to be with someone regardless if he's married or not. So it's like, yeah, I found that connection. It was that special connection. So I have a story about that, because I have a friend.
Is it about you just missing a woman that has two real legs?
No, but it was a friend of mine that we would constantly rip on, because anyone that he dated, they were special, man. They were always special.
Is this the same guy that you bullied all through high school?
I didn't bully anyone, but no.
I just see this guy like Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison.
No.
Like he's
No.
gonna show up in your background one day and
No, nice guy, but man, he fell in love hard with every single female that he met. And I'm sure you have a friend like that too, or
I
knew
mean, that's what
someone of
happens when
that.
you go to an all boys school.
He didn't go to an all boys school, but anyways, you're striking out on this one.
I
man.
am. I still think I'm right. I think you're just as fucked up as I am, Dan. I think that I'm right.
No. You're always thinking you're right. But yeah, so this guy, oh my God, man. It was still to this day. I recently caught up with some friends and his name just kind of slipped into the conversation. And we were all just like, we all looked at each other as like, come on, this is an easy target. Like, can't we stop talking about this? And then we all turned and looked at each other and was like, yeah, you're right. We can't. It's just he puts it on himself. And so it's just one of those things. But nice guy. He's probably not going to listen. But if he does, hey, how are you, man? I'm sure you know who we're talking about. And it's you. It's definitely you. But
we want you to know what love is. we want you to be okay.
Yes.
Please don't cut up and divide up and portion any legs.
So speaking of any dating stories, we talked about that one guy that I knew who fell in love with everyone. Do you have any bad dating stories?
I think everybody's got bad dating stories.
Let's give the viewers what they want. Let's hear a bad dating story.
I'll tell you about the worst first date meal I've ever had. A restaurant that I've never gone back to ever. So, I hate to lose a possible sponsor, but the restaurant is Buca di Beppo.
Okay.
Have you heard of this chain of Italian restaurants?
We go there not frequently, but it's one of my wife's favorites.
It is off. I'd rather go to Olive Garden.
That is one of my favorites.
I'd rather eat fucking SpaghettiOs.
Oof.
So we go there and we order. The person I'm with orders ravioli, and I order chicken parm.
Very, very familiar. Go on.
This is standard fare. Like, this isn't odd. The ravioli she gets is crunchy. Like, not like undercooked, but somehow cooked back to crunchy pasta. And she's trying to be really nice. It's so like inedible. And it was veal parm, not chicken parm, because I love baby cow. The veal parm I got was just the veal and the no pasta, nothing.
Oh yeah.
It's just a veal parm, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. And we're both just eating our odd meals and finish up, and just like couldn't admit to each other that, wow, this was the absolute worst restaurant experience on a date ever. And you're like having conversation and you're trying to be positive and just like, just don't bitch about this is terrible though, but we'll just never come back here. It's okay.
Someone didn't listen to their server that it's family style at Buca di Beppo.
Yeah, I no, when there's two people, you gotta maybe I shouldn't have tipped that server, but I did. I did not tell my date to bring cash.
So it's funny that I have a very similar story about the first time I went to Buca di Beppo.
Oh.
So this isn't the worst date, but it was a food faux pas on my end. So we go there, and I heard the server say family style meals. And me being in high school, I didn't really understand what the hell that meant. So it's like, it's meant to be shared. Like, yeah, sure, all food's meant to be shared, whatever. But I ordered chicken marsala, and my date ordered the ravioli. First off, I'm thinking, who the fuck orders ravioli? I just think that that's like the worst Italian pasta, ravioli. I eat ravioli, but at the same time, I'm not going to be like, ooh, I'm going to go out and get myself some ravioli. This is going to be delicious. Like, I'd never think that ever, ever. And so when I heard her say that, I was thinking, like, well, I'm not going to share that shit. I'm going to take a hard pass on ravioli. But they bring out the chicken marsala, they bring out the ravioli. And the embarrassing part for me is that I was expecting some type of pasta with it. So I didn't understand the whole family style concept. I didn't know that it was only chicken marsala, nothing else. So there I am, sitting with the 2 to 3 person portion of the chicken marsala, and I'm an eater. So I'm like powering through. And that version of chicken marsala, while good, marsala wine is a little sweet. So after a while, it doesn't taste like, oh, this is a really nice chicken dish. It turns out that it's like, this is some nice candied chicken. And so I'm like getting diabetes as I'm going in through like my 2.5 to 3 pieces of chicken breast with mushrooms. And I'm just like going into like sugar shock at the table. And I'm like not hungry, but I'm continuing to power through and eating my meal. Whereas I'm looking over at my date's ravioli meal, and it's like 6 big pieces of ravioli. I was like, and she's like, "Oh, I'm stuffed." I was like, "Bitch, I could finish that whole plate, no problem." And I don't even like ravioli, so
It's
just
because it was crispy. It's the crispness.
oh man. But yeah, so that it's funny that you talked about Buca de Beppo, but I have been back there multiple times since. It's one of my wife's favorites, but I will say that it is, they build so much shit into that pricing. I guarantee you that big bowl of pasta ain't worth $40. Guarantee it.
I'm good on Buca de Beppo. Like again, one very few for me one and done restaurants. That is a one and done.
I challenge you to go back again. I
No,
challenge you.
that was my last first date at a Buca de Beppo, and it will continue to be my last first date at a Buca de Beppo.
That's funny. It's funny that both of our bad dating stories revolved around that restaurant. But
It's
you know what,
kind
Buka?
of it's kind of not. It's not funny. It's truth.
I love the restaurant. Except for certain ones that smell like laundry, like mildewy laundry. But hey man, I guess that's what happens when you go to some places where they don't wash the carpet. Did you have any favorite moments of the movie?
I thought the pickup line at the beginning was really good. Like I was impressed with the grape thing.
I figured you would like
Yeah,
that.
the pickup line I was like, that's pretty solid. But I have a question for you. Of all of the moral questions that I could ask regarding this movie, I've got a moral question for you. Is eating the grape stealing?
It's dirty, in my opinion. I feel like eating produce right there, not rinsed, not washed, is dirty. Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess you can say it's stealing. I would not disagree with it. However, am I going to be pressing criminal charges on a couple people popping some grapes? Probably not.
I mean, they ended up popping a lot more than grapes, but
Heyo. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say it's stealing. I mean, it's not criminal. It's a victimless crime. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Victimless crime. Now, I will put it back to you in the grocery store. If you're going through self checkout and you punch your produce in as the incorrect produce to make sure that you get the cheaper per pound price. So let's say you're putting bananas in if you're getting plantains, because plantains are much more expensive than bananas. Is that a crime or is that stealing?
I think that's user error. I think that it's the grocery store's fault that there's self checkout and not a person there that's trained and unionized to perform that job, and they wrote that off already in the cost of putting in the operational based cost of putting in self checkout. They built in the thing. You know what is stealing? I saw a video on the internet about this the other day. It's funny you bring in self checkout. Somebody went to the service desk with a thing of antifreeze, not antifreeze, like washer fluid, and it was missing the barcode. They're like, "Well, I want to buy this." And oh, somebody must have stole the barcode. He's like, "Why would they steal the barcode? They keep it in their hand and they scan their stuff and they scan that barcode. That's stealing."
Oh. So you're saying like you're running through items, but
Like
not scanning
I'm
the item.
scanning my AirPods and beep. Oh, I got this. Or I'm scanning this TV. I beep. Oh, I scanned this washer fluid. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the balls to do something like that. I think that's just like flat out. That's flat out
That's
criminal
stealing.
in my opinion. Yeah.
The bananas and plantains thing. If knowingly doing it, if there's malice, I won't pay Walmart for plantain. Like, okay, it's technically theft. Because it's premeditated.
Mark, I would never knowingly do that.
I'm just saying that's why you wouldn't buy a washer fluid TV.
I mean,
we do not condone stealing.
Plantains are delicious and they're just way more expensive than regular bananas, but I would never.
Plantains, when sliced at the angle and roasted with butter and cinnamon sugar, may be the delicacy of all delicacies. The second best thing I've ever had to go with steak.
You know what, my friend? I'm gonna have to make you when I get a chance. If we ever see each other locally again, I will have to make you some of my plantain spring rolls if you like.
Game on.
That. It's my favorite.
Game on.
But anyway,
you should put them in a box with multiple weird effects and just ship them.
Yeah, I'll put.
Ship it down, buddy.
I'll put my panties in
it.
No,
I said effects.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, it'll give you an effect, all right.
It's an effect. It's set it on fire.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. I think I know the answer, but Mark, can you do this all day?
Fuck no. Like, there were some really great points. I love homages to other cinema. I love stuff like that. But the end of this movie reminded me of Tusk. But he didn't go full walrus. You know, that's basically, she didn't go full cannibal. Like, that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of Tusk. And I prefer Tusk very much to this film.
For me, I struggle really hard with this rating even now, just because I don't know if I will be going back to this movie anytime soon. And so that's a huge play into my rating of if I can do this all day or not. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I had a really fun time watching it. I loved the humor in it. I loved Daisy Edgar Jones in her character, and also the way that she dealt with her little controversy and challenges within the movie. And Sebastian Stan can't do any wrong. He's an amazing villain, but I also think that he is an amazing portrayal of that guy that I knew in high school and how he could fall in love with anyone. And
was his name Jeffrey? No, Jeffrey?
No. I will not give that name up because it's a unique name, and I would never want it to get out and make that person feel bad, because you know what? Everyone deserves to be happy, and he just wanted to find happiness with everyone. So there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. It's just not the best of the odds.
I understand that. I will say one more thing, though. I can't do this movie all day, but I will look out for things that this writer is attached to. I felt that the writing is big time. Really enjoyed it. Felt that they didn't take it too seriously, and the adding of some of the megalomaniacal humor in it and that aspect of it, like, love the writing. The subject is the thing that really turned me off to it. The writing, I could do, right? And I think it's ironic that she worked with Adam McKay. Lauren Kahn is her name. Huge win on the writing portion of it. I think she already won one award for it. I wouldn't be surprised if there was more recognition for the writing on this movie because it was solid.
Agreed. I will have to also chime in and say that I cannot do this movie all day. Once again, I think it's worth a watch, but it will not rank very high in my pantheon of movies that I can put on anytime, any day of the week. But solid movie.
Is that because you can't watch this with your kids?
No, it's just the fact that I already know those major plot twists, and I don't think that there was as many scenes and pieces of dialogue that were as witty as like something like American Psycho. With anything that has disturbing subject matter, it's tough to watch again because you kind of lose all the surprise. So
yeah, some of the visceral feeling losing the second time through Get Out, it was not nearly as shocking. But this movie again reminded me kind of like that. And that movie I watched all the way through and was good with it. But the fucking cannibalism lost me, man. It lost me a little bit there, but good pick because we had good discussion. Fuck though, dude.
It is messed up. That's messed up. I mean, if you think cannibalism is great, then there's a problem. But I'm very open to all subject matter. So
I never thought I'd be the prude on this podcast.
Right? I know that there's a difference between fact and fiction, but I completely understand why you would feel not jazzed about some of the subject material. So I get it. But hey, you know what? That is just the first episode of our Halloween bonanza. And we will be coming back with Hocus Pocus and also the new upcoming sequel, Hocus Pocus 2, for next episode. But until then, I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Like, subscribe, hit us on Instagram and Twitter, ICDT all day, or I Can Do This All Day podcast. Let us know what you thought of this movie, if you support cannibalism, and if you dance like nobody else is watching.
Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next time.